Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where we dive deep into the shocking moment that has the entire industry buzzing. Marla Gibbs walks off Sherri Shepherd's show after a heated clash that left audiences gasping and social media on fire. Picture this, it's a bright, lively morning in the heart of New York City, the studio lights gleaming like stars in a Broadway sky, and the crowd is electric, buzzing with anticipation for what promises to be another hilarious installment of the Sherri Shepherd show. Sherri, that vivacious queen of daytime TV with her infectious laugh and unfiltered charm, struts onto the set in a vibrant red dress that hugs her curves just right, her heels clicking with purpose as she waves to the cheering audience. She's fresh off promoting her latest comedy special, her energy palpable, ready to tackle the headlines with her signature wit. And then, the announcement comes. Today's guest is none other than the legendary Marla Gibbs, the woman who gave us Florence Johnston on The Jeffersons and Mary Jenkins on 227, a trailblazer whose sassy one-liners and impeccable timing have entertained generations. The crowd erupts in applause as Marla, elegant at 94, glides in wearing a tailored pantsuit in deep emerald green, her silver hair styled in soft waves, exuding that timeless grace that only comes from decades in the spotlight. They hug warmly at first, Sherri gushing about how Marla's role in her upcoming guest spot on a new sitcom inspired her own journey from The View to hosting her own empire. The band plays a funky remix of the 227 theme song, and the audience is loving it, phones out recording every second. But beneath the surface smiles, there's a subtle tension brewing. Marla's known for her no-nonsense attitude, forged in the fires of Hollywood's golden age, while Sherri's bold, boundary-pushing style sometimes dances too close to the edge. As the applause dies down, Sherri launches into her opening monologue, cracking jokes about celebrity feuds and age-defying divas, her eyes twinkling with mischief as she glances at Marla. The laughter rolls like thunder, but Marla's smile tightens just a fraction, her fingers drumming lightly on her knee. It's the kind of moment that feels like the calm before a storm, where one offhand comment could ignite the powder keg. And oh boy, does it. Sherri, ever the provocateur, pivots to Marla with a playful jab. Marla, honey, you've been slaying since bell-bottoms were in. Tell us, what's the secret to looking this fierce without a single filter? The crowd hoots, but Marla's response is measured, her voice like velvet over steel. Darlin', it's not about filters, it's about living authentically, something this town forgets too often. The air shifts, subtle but undeniable, as Sherri pushes further, teasing about Marla's iconic walk-offs from sets in the 80s. What starts as banter edges into something sharper, Marla's eyes narrowing as she recounts a real story from her early days fighting for respect on set. The audience leans in, sensing the authenticity turning raw. Sherri laughs it off at first, but her follow-up question lands like a misfired punch. Come on, Marla, spill, did you ever just snap and tell a producer where to go? Marla pauses, the studio falling into a hush, and in that silence, you can hear the heartbeat of television history colliding with modern-day realness. She straightens her posture, her gaze locking onto Sherri's with the intensity of a woman who's stared down worse than a talk show host. Sherri, I've snapped plenty, but not without reason. Respect isn't handed out, it's demanded. The words hang heavy, and suddenly, the laughter feels forced. Sherri, caught off guard but quick on her feet, tries to steer back with a commercial break tease, but Marla's already rising, her chair scraping softly against the floor. The camera catches it all. The stunned faces in the crowd, the producers whispering frantically off stage, the band awkwardly transitioning to a soft jazz number. Is this real, or is it the performance of a lifetime? As Marla turns toward the exit, her stride purposeful yet dignified, Sherri calls out, "Wait, Marla, we're just getting started." But the legend doesn't look back, her hand waving dismissively like Florence dismissing a bad tip. The screen fades to black on that cliffhanger, and just like that, daytime TV has a new legend, the walk-off heard round the world. But hold on, folks, because this is just the spark. What led to this fiery explosion? Let's rewind to the roots of these two powerhouses and uncover the layers that made this clash inevitable. To truly grasp the magnitude of this walk-off, we have to journey back to the origins of these two icons, women who carved their paths through Hollywood's unforgiving terrain with grit, grace, and a whole lot of guts. Sherri Shepherd, born in 1967 in Chicago's South Side, grew up in a working-class family where dreams were whispered over dinner tables amid the hum of city life. From an early age, she knew she was destined for the stage. Her first performance was lip-syncing to Diana Ross in the school talent show, earning cheers that lit a fire in her soul. But the road wasn't paved with glitter. Sherri battled undiagnosed diabetes, a messy divorce, and the cutthroat world of stand-up comedy where hecklers were kinder than casting directors. Her big break came in 2007 on The View, where her unapologetic candor and infectious energy made her a fan favorite, even as she navigated controversies like her infamous Flat Earth debate that had the internet in stitches and stitches insides. By 2022, she launched The Sherri Shepherd Show, a bold successor to The Wendy Williams Show, infusing it with her personal flair. Think hot topics laced with heartfelt stories from her life as a mom, a survivor, and a sister to the struggle. Sherri's style, relentless realness, where she roasts celebrities with love but doesn't pull punches, creating moments that go viral faster than a TikTok dance. Now, enter Marla Gibbs, the Chicago-born dynamo who, at 94, is still out here blessing screens like it's 1975. Born in 1931, Marla grew up in the shadow of the Great Depression, her mother a homemaker and her father a mechanic, instilling in her a work ethic as unbreakable as her comedic timing. She cut her teeth in the 60s Chicago theater scene, pounding pavements for roles that often went to the usual suspects, but Marla wasn't one to wait for invitations. Her breakthrough came with the Jeffersons in 1975, where she transformed the sassy maid Florence into a cultural phenomenon, delivering zingers that dismantled racism with a wink and a snap. "Wheezy, move over, Florence is in the house," she'd quip, earning Emmys and etching her name in Black excellence history. Then came 227 in 1985, a show she co-created from her own play, fighting tooth and nail to portray a married black woman in a lead role, refusing scripts that sidelined her as the eternal sidekick. Marla's career is a tapestry of triumphs, voice work in Disney's The Emperor's New Groove, arcs on shows like Martin and the Fresh Prince, and even a turn in Snoop Dogg's Hoodwinked at 90. But beneath the accolades lies a fierce protector of her legacy, someone who's walked off sets, turned down roles, and called out microaggressions long before they had a name. These two Chicago queens, separated by generations but bound by the city's unyielding spirit, have always admired each other from afar, Sherri citing Marla as her comedy godmother, in interviews, Marla praising Sherri's authenticity on podcasts. Yet, admiration can curdle into conflict when egos clash under hot lights. Leading up to this episode, whispers swirled. Marla was promoting a memoir excerpt about her battles with ageism in Hollywood, while Sherri was under fire for a segment perceived as shading elder stars. Producers thought pairing them would be magic, two forces of nature trading stories of resilience. Rehearsals were cordial, laughs shared over coffee about mutual friends like Regina King. But as taping neared, Marla's team flagged concerns over Sherri's edgy script notes, wanting to ensure the segment honored rather than poked fun. Sherri, ever the improviser, brushed it off. "It's all love, Auntie, we'll keep it light." The stage was set, the audience primed, and the cameras rolled, but no one anticipated how quickly light banter would ignite into a blaze. As Sherri's monologue wrapped with a nod to Marla's enduring sass, Marla Gibbs, proving black don't crack, it shines, the applause was thunderous. Marla took the couch, settling in with a poised smile, her eyes sparkling with memories ready to share. Sherri dove in, asking about the Jeffersons, behind-the-scenes gems, and Marla obliged with tales of Isabel Sanford's diva moments and Sherman Hemsley's impeccable ad-libs. The chemistry crackled at first, the audience eating it up as Marla demonstrated Florence's famous eye roll, prompting gales of laughter. But then, Sherri steered toward the personal. "Marla, you've seen it all, tell us about those times you had to check folks on set. Like, girl, spill the tea." Marla chuckled softly, but her tone shifted. "Tea? Honey, I served justice, not gossip. There were producers who thought a black woman's voice was just background noise, but I made sure they heard every word." The room quieted, the weight of history settling in. Sherri, sensing the pivot, quipped, "And you walked right out, didn't you?" Queen move. But to Marla, it landed as trivializing, a young host reducing her hard-fought battles to a meme-worthy soundbite. Her jaw set, and in that instant, the generational chasm yawned wide. What followed was no longer chat, it was a clash of eras, respect versus relevance, legacy versus likes. As Marla's voice rose, recounting a specific incident from 227 where she demanded script changes or else, Sherri interjected with a laugh, "Bold. But hey, if I did that today, I'd be cancelled by noon." The audience tittered nervously, but Marla wasn't amused. "Cancelled, child, we were erased, big difference." The temperature dropped, the studio air thick with unspoken truths about Hollywood's evolution, or lack thereof. Producers signaled for a break, but Marla was done waiting. She stood, microphone in hand, delivering her parting shot. "I've given enough today. Some stories aren't for soundbites." And with that, she walked, head high, heels steady, leaving Sherri stunned, the crowd murmuring, and a nation about to dissect every frame. The immediate aftermath of Marla's dramatic exit was chaos wrapped in stunned silence, the kind that sucks the oxygen from a room full of professionals trained to roll with any punchline. Backstage, Sherri's face was a mask of shock, her usual megawatt smile flickering like a bulb about to burn out as she paced the green room, phone glued to her ear, producers swarming like bees around a disrupted hive. "What just happened? We were vibing," she exclaimed to her head writer, who stammered apologies about the segment's tone. Meanwhile, Marla, ever the pro, slipped into a waiting car outside the studio, her publicist at her side, fielding calls from concerned friends like Felicia Rashad, who texted immediately, "Heard you owned that stage, again. Proud of you, sis." Social media, that relentless beast, ignited within minutes, clips leaked from audience members' phones trending under hashtag Marla walks off, with reactions pouring in like a digital deluge. Fans of Sherri defended her. "It's just her style, love the realness. Marla's a legend, but chill," tweeted one loyal viewer, while Marla's supporters rallied, "Respect your elders." Sherri crossed the line, turning pain into punchlines. Hashtag protect Marla. The divide was generational and fierce, Black Twitter dissecting every nuance. Was Sherri's humor empowering or erasure? Did Marla's exit honor her boundaries or steal the spotlight? News outlets pounced. TMZ splashed blurry footage with the headline, "Gibbs ghosts Shepherd, feud or fade out," while Essence ran a thoughtful piece on the unspoken rules of black women in media. Ratings for the episode, aired with a hasty edit that cut to commercial mid-clash, spiked 40%, proving controversy is still TV's best friend. Sherri, regrouping on-air post-break, addressed it head-on with her trademark vulnerability. "Y'all, that was intense. Marla's a queen, and if I stepped wrong, that's on me. Let's talk about it." The audience, a mix of awkward claps and empathetic nods, hung on as she shared a quick story of her own walk-off from a bad gig early in her career, humanizing the moment. But the damage, or was it dialogue, was done, sparking panel discussions on CNN and podcasts like The Read, where hosts Kid Fury and Crystal debated. Marla didn't walk off, she walked up, reminding us all that experience demands space. Behind the scenes, apologies flew. Sherri's team sent a lavish bouquet of roses and a handwritten note, "Auntie, your fire lit me up. Let's talk soon." Marla, from her Los Angeles home, responded via her representative with a classy statement. "It was a passionate exchange, not a feud. Sherri's a star. We just hit different notes today." Yet, the ripple effect spread far. Casting directors buzzed about the Gibbs effect, with more roles suddenly greenlit for veteran actresses, and Sherri's show announced a future segment on Hollywood's unsung walk-offs. As the day wore on, celebs chimed in. Oprah reposted a clip with, "Boundaries are beautiful. Love to both," while Snoop Dogg, Marla's recent co-star, joked on Instagram, "Auntie Marla don't play, Sherri, you good. Let's smoke this out." The walk-off became more than a moment, it was a mirror, reflecting the tensions black women navigate in an industry that loves their shine but fears their shadows. Fans flooded Marla's mentions with clips from her glory days, reigniting love for the Jeffersons marathons, while Sherri trended for her resilience, her book sales ticking up overnight. But as night fell on that fateful day, the real question lingered: would this clash heal into collaboration or scar into silence? Interviews poured in. Marla on The Breakfast Club the next week, her voice steady as she unpacked the exchange. "I didn't walk off in anger, I walked off in clarity. Young blood like Sherri needs to know the cost of our crowns." Sherri, on Watch What Happens Live, teared up. "It hurt, but it taught. Marla's my mirror, showing me where to grow." The public devoured it all, memes morphing from shade to shade throwing admiration, like one viral edit syncing Marla's exit to Beyoncé's Irreplaceable. Universities even slotted it into media studies syllabi, calling it the Gibbs-Shepherd paradigm, when icons intersect. And through it all, the two women stayed mum on reconciliation, letting the narrative breathe, evolve, teach. This wasn't just entertainment, it was education, a masterclass in standing your ground amid the glamour. As clips looped endlessly, one truth emerged: in the Game of Thrones that is TV, walking off isn't defeat, it's declaration. The industry watched, waited, wondered, what's next for these trailblazers whose clash cracked open conversations long overdue? Diving deeper into the heart of the clash, let's unpack the exact words that turned a cozy couch chat into a combustion chamber, because every syllable mattered in this symphony of showdown. It started innocently enough, about 5 minutes in, after Marla shared a light-hearted anecdote about auditioning for the Jeffersons in a borrowed dress that nearly split at the seams. Sherri, howling with laughter, wiped a tear and said, "Girl, that's gold." Florence was born from that fire, sassy, unapologetic, taking no mess. Marla nodded, her eyes warming with the memory. She was me, amplified. I poured every slight, every, not quite right, into her retorts. The audience awed, sensing the soul behind the sitcom. But Sherri, hungry for that viral zinger, leaned in with, and those walk-offs. Remember when Florence quit the Jeffersons like 3 times? Iconic. You've got that DNA, ever think of pulling one today? Marla's laugh was polite, but her reply carried weight. Walking off isn't a gag, Sherri. It's survival. Back then, if you didn't claim your worth, they'd write you out entirely. The studio hummed with agreement, heads nodding in recognition of those pre-#MeToo battles. Undeterred, Sherri pressed, her tone playful but probing. True, but imagine if we all did that now. I'd walk off every commercial break if my coffee's cold. The crowd chuckled, but Marla's expression cooled like summer rain on hot pavement. It's not the same, dear. You walk for laughs, I walked for life. Producers saw a black woman speaking up and labeled it difficult. I'd lose roles for less. Silence stretched, broken only by a distant cough in the back row. Sherri, sensing the skid, backpedaled with enthusiasm. Oh, absolutely, your courage paved my path. But come on, share one spicy story. What made you snap hardest? Marla paused, fingers interlacing as if weighing the worth of the ask. Spicy. It was searing. On 227, they wanted Mary single forever, safer, they said. I fought, threatened to quit the play-turned-series. I won't play a widow without a man, I told them. It was about visibility, not spice. Sherri's eyes widened, genuine admiration flashing. Phew, that's queen energy. So, if something felt off today, you'd bounce. It was meant as a bridge, but to Marla, it echoed dismissal, reducing revolution to relatable riff. Her voice dropped an octave, resonant with decades. If it disrespects the journey. Absolutely. We've earned the right to exit gracefully. The air crackled, and spoken. Was this a subtle call out? Sherri, ever adaptive, quipped, noted. My journey's just starting. Teach me your ways, sensei. Laughter rippled tentatively, but Marla rose then, smoothing her jacket with deliberate calm. Lesson 1. Know when the script stops serving the story. She placed the mic on the cushion, a mic drop without the drop, and strode off, passing the band who froze mid-note. The camera lingered on her retreating figure, poised as a panther, while Sherri sat frozen, mouth agape in a perfect O of oh no she didn't. Cut to commercial, but the echo lingered. Respect is currency, experience is armor. Analysts later pored over transcripts, noting how Sherri's improvisational jazz clashed with Marla's blues-rooted ballad, Use freestyle versus Age's symphony. It wasn't malice, it was mismatch, a reminder that interviews aren't interrogations, and legends don't perform on demand. In the hours after, linguists even chimed in on TikTok breakdowns. Marla's, dear, was maternal correction, not condescension. The dialogue dissected became dialogue starter, with writing workshops using it to teach the art of the pivot. Sherri reflected in her journal that night, scribbling, she saw through my shine to my blind spots. Marla, sipping tea on her patio, told a friend, I gave her the gift of pause, now, what will she do with it? This verbal volley wasn't villainy, it was vitality, 2 voices vying for volume in a chorus too often muted. As replays racked up millions of views, one line stood out, Marla's, earned the right, a mantra for every underdog watching, whispering, me too. The clash crystallized. Words wield power, especially when wielded by women who've waited lifetimes to be heard. And in that hearing, healing, or at least understanding, begins. As the dust settled from this seismic showdown, the broader implications rippled through Hollywood like a stone skipped across a still pond, stirring waves of reflection, reform, and reluctant reckonings. Networks, ever attuned to the pulse of public sentiment, scrambled to recalibrate. Fox greenlit a docuseries on trailblazing walk-offs in TV history, featuring Marla as executive.